Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is episode 49. On today's podcast, I am joined by Mr. Jon Slaughter, CEO of Healthy Trucking of America. We're going to talk about what Healthy Trucking of America is, what they offer to truck drivers, and discuss some of the major health problems truckers face. And Jon is going to give us some good insight, so you guys stay tuned and listen to what he's got to say here in just a few minutes. But first, let's hear from Vickie Chastain on this week's Need to Know segment, sponsored by LubeZone.
Oakley Trucking leases on a lot of first-time owner-operators. If you're a company driver and have been considering buying your own truck, contact the recruiting department at Oakley. From start to finish, Oakley makes it simple in helping with the transition from being a company driver to owning your own truck. As the owner of your own truck, you are responsible for all the same things as a company driver, plus maintenance and operational costs. So it is important that you do your homework and are prepared for the unexpected. I'm Vickie Chastain, and that's this week's Need to Know segment.
Let's listen to a conversation I had with one of our drivers, Ken Bill, that uses LubeZone.
I've been dealing with LubeZone before they were LubeZone, when they were Beeline, at least in Brookshire. They're still just as good as they've always been. LubeZone has probably turned up the notch a little bit better. Their service is excellent. I've never had any problems with. They've always done good work. They're professional people. They treat you good. They've got a good place there. It's always kept clean, neat. They're good people. I haven't had any problems with them.
Are they fast and pretty efficient?
Yeah. There's no messing around there. I mean, that's they get to it and they don't mess around. They get to it and they get it done.
How long does it normally take?
About an hour.
And what are you getting done?
I'm getting a full service on the truck alone. Full service on that.
What are some of the little services that they have that maybe another place doesn't have?
Last time I was there, they changed the windshield wipers for me. They don't charge for that unless they, at least the last time I was there, they didn't. As far as I know, they were doing batteries. I think they still are there. When I was there last month, I was getting oil changed, and I was looking through their store there, and I noticed a headlight cleaner. I was asking, one of the hands was in there, and he said, yeah, that's great stuff. He says, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you buy it, I'll put it on for you. I'll do your headlights for you. He did my headlights for me, and they look good.
All right.
And I was really surprised. Yeah, but he did a great job, and he was excited about it. I mean, I told him, I said, man, you take a lot of pride in what you do. He says, yeah. I was really impressed with it.
Have you referred anybody to LubeZone? Do you refer people to LubeZone?
Yeah, occasionally I do if I know they're going to be around there or somebody's, looking for a place. They ask me if I know where a oil changing place is or something, and I can think about them. And, like they're up there on 20 in Sweetwater, I'll say, well, there's a LubeZone up there. I've used them before. They do good work. And then the one in Houston, too, I've done before. And I refer, I told a couple of our drivers before, I said, there's a place there, they do good work there, too.
Are they pretty convenient to get to?
All easy places to get to and get around in.
I appreciate you doing it, man, taking time out of your day to do it.
Not a problem.
LubeZone has a new promotion that is running March 1st through April 30th. A driver would be able to earn an additional $50 bonus reward for using Shell Rotella during their oil change. Tell them you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. All right, Mr. Jon, let's get started on talking about Healthy Trucking of America. You doing okay these days?
I'm doing well, Jeremy. Thanks for having us on.
You bet. Glad to have you guys on. Being healthy is something that what we talk about constantly, isn't it? I mean, every time you turn on the TV, you see commercials about being healthy and how to lose weight and how to stay that way. But, I never see much of that targeting truck drivers like you guys target truck drivers. And that to me says a whole lot about the company you guys have there at Healthy Trucking of America. And I think it's great that you're trying to fight one of the biggest problems that truckers have, and that's staying healthy.
Well, and it is a challenge for this particular occupation. When you look at the long-haul truck driver, professional driver, in the medical community, the driving profession for drivers that are between the ages of 35 and 64 are a medical anomaly. They're wondering, They don't know anything about them. They know that based upon the studies that they've done, that these are the largest, unhealthy segment in the particular occupations around the country. And all of it is because of the mobile nature of this occupation, as well as the sedentary. We sit in our cabs, we drive long distances, we're alone, and so what do? We eat for comfort and to make us feel a part of things.
Yeah, that weighs on a person after a long day. Well, give our listeners here an idea of what your company does. What exactly is Healthy Trucking of America and what you have to offer truck drivers there, if you don't care. That way we'll have a little base here of what we're going off of. Yeah,
Healthy Trucking of America, we started out in 1997. Our founder, Bill Gordon, was a hospital administrator and started looking at all of the different folks that were coming in and the claims and said, wow, these professional drivers are really unhealthy people. We kept seeing the same reoccurring chronic illnesses amongst all of them. And he was like, what can we do for these drivers? And we started looking at federal programs who, like on sleep disorders, on diabetes and that kind of thing, liver disease. And what can we do to actually get them, those being the drivers, free health coaching services that are federally funded? So the one way to look at us is we bring the federal dollar to you. So we allow drivers to enroll for free into any one of our programs. You get free health coaching just by dialing our toll-free number, never cost you anything. And you can call us about anything you're dealing with. And our health coaches will assist you. Some of our health coaches are exercise physiologists. They all been trained in diabetes and so forth, and can address all kinds of comorbidities that a driver's dealing with. All of that's free of charge.
That's awesome. Are those, I guess those are coaches that work for you or all the time, full time? Are they, I'm assuming, dedicated to helping the truckers have a healthier lifestyle?
Yeah, this is all they do. They are trained by the diabetes educators, so they're certified. And all we do is talk to drivers. We process about 200 driver requests a day from all around the country and create cases. And then we go and investigate the different comorbidities they're dealing with. Whether that be from big toe fungus disease to diabetes, we'll answer your questions and try to help you out.
Well, I think that's a great idea that you have there, because it gives them somebody to call when they're having some problems, whether it's
exactly right.
Depression, mental issues, or physical issues that happen that may not know about or think about, or I guess y'all are just also, like you say, a coach, but also a cheerleader when they need some encouragement.
Sure.
On
sure.
making, I think, we know it comes down to making those little choices.
And, you talk about little choices. If you just change your body weight by 5%, you have just greatly reduced all of your symptoms to prediabetes. And so we look at, when a driver calls in, let's take a look at their BMI and let's see if we can't just reduce you by 5%. If we can do that, you are no longer symptomatic to prediabetes. You're no longer at risk for liver disease. You're no longer at risk for sleep apnea and that kind of thing, because all of that reduces. And so our goal is to assist you with losing weight, that is making some new choices, including 15 minutes a day of exercise into what you do. We call it exercise snacks. And then turn around and make those reductions just to get you out of the critical areas.
Now, is that something that they can do? You mentioned their BMI. Is that something you can do over the phone and let them know pretty close what their BMI is? Or how does that work? If I were to call you and want to start the process of, hey, John, I need to get healthier. Can you help me? How do I get started? What do I need to do?
Yeah, first call us up toll-free, 800-800-1198. And then you will get on the phone with a health coach. The health coach will take you through an assessment. You can say, look, I need some help. They're going to go, great, let's just talk about you. And this is your time. And they'll ask you your height and your weight and that kind of thing. If you're honest, you get an honest BMI. Right. If you tell us something that's not true, you're not going to get the right result. So I tell drivers, be honest with your health coach. We're not telling anybody, And so anything you tell us is just between you and that health coach.
Yeah, that's good that you can keep it confidential, but also have an outlet there for guys to talk. I can see where that's encouraging to a lot of them. Now, where are y'all located?
We're located out of Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay. I was when Hunter was telling me about us doing this podcast together, I got to thinking, I said, I think I remember right when you guys got started, I had went to a conference, and I want to say it was in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's right. That was us.
And I remember that's about where y'all started. It was one of your first conferences.
Exactly.
Because I remember y'all put it on, didn't you? I mean, it was.
We sure did.
I remember that. That's funny how that has happened because it's been so long ago when that was there. But I was at that conference, and I remember. Matter of fact, I've still got a little wooden tractor trailer that you guys gave out.
Yes.
I don't remember if it was at that conference or sometime y'all sent it to me, but I still have that thing, believe it or not.
Yes.
So,
well, I have to admit, I want to look at that. That truck's gone through several revisions since then, so I'd be anxious to see what you got.
I'll send you a picture of it later on because I still have that thing. So that's funny. But I remember y'all talking about it and being serious about getting healthy for truck drivers, and y'all have been on a mission ever since then. I guess I haven't followed you closely, but I know that's 1997, I guess, and this is 2021. So y'all are definitely doing something right and making headway. So let's get into the actual problems that drivers face every day and what you see, and maybe help give these owner operators or all truck drivers some advice on what to look for also.
Yeah. One of the things is primarily whenever you're overweight, it's just best to go ahead and be real with yourself and say, I need to do something. And once you come to that conclusion, we call it, what's your why? Why are you doing it? I'm doing it because I want to be around for my grandchildren, or I may want to be around to be able to spend time with my wife more, or my family, or my mother, or what have you. There's a lot of reasons why you want to do it. And one of them is you want to stay employed. Whenever you're running into being overweight and going in for a DOT examination, we see a lot of drivers who have 6-month licenses, and they constantly keep getting renewed, and no one does anything about them. And that's got to be a stressor on that driver, holding your breath whether or not I'm going to get to drive for another 6 months. And what we're finding is that, again, with just small changes in their lifestyle, they can make huge, huge advances. One of the things that we're doing a whole series on is what you buy when you're in the truck stop. And if you're like me, I go in, I'm a hot dog guy personally, so I'm looking for the big beefy hot dogs, right. And I can inhale them, Jeremy. I'm just telling you. But you got to stay away, Yeah. And when you're thinking about that next haul, you're thinking, man, I got 300 miles to go. I'm going to need to get a big gulp, and I need to go get something to keep me awake. And I sugar myself up only to realize I'm all worn out 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling to stay awake, And so it's important the choices we make. One of the things that a driver that I talked to about a year ago told me, he said, well, John, I've got FOFO. And I said, FOFO? I was thinking of, what the heck is FOFO? He goes, I got fear of finding out. That's what I got. I said, oh, FOFO, okay, fear of finding out. He goes, yeah, I don't go to doctors because I don't want to hear what they got to tell me. And I know what they got to tell me is going to be something I'm not going to want to hear. And I said to him, look, here's the big secret. We all know.
Yeah.
There's no reason hiding it,
You're only hiding it from yourself, right?
You are.
Pretty much.
You are. And Yeah. And so we have a lot of drivers that when they go in and see their medical examiner, they'll turn around, pick up the phone and call our health coach. Say, this is what happened. They weighed me and they said, I've got to get on some kind of obesity program, which, by the way, we've got them. We've got obesity programs we can put you on. They don't cost anything. And you just got to want to do it. And so we're like, okay, well, we're going to encourage you. Let's weigh in. Let's see what's going on. And let's set a plan and tell your wife, Vickie, quit making all those tacos and that kind of thing. And we really get involved with them. But part of what we do is really just relationship.
Yeah, and that helps a whole lot, just having that. I can see where that would come into play, being a truck driver. So what are some of the biggest challenges? I mean, I'm assuming it's high blood pressure, obesity. I mean, I guess it's you just start with the diet, and that's where you really start gaining some ground.
Yeah, it all starts from there. We find that 55% of the American drivers out there in the population are clinically obese. Now, when you take a look at the DOT numbers of anywhere, depending on what day you look at it, 4 million to 7 million professional drivers. It all depends on when you're looking and who you're looking at. But we like to say 5 million because that's kind of in the middle. You're looking at 2.5 million, or one half of the population that's considered obese. And we have drivers that call in, and a health coach will call me and they'll say, John, this driver is obese. They're scratching like a dog because of psoriasis, and they're having to get their eyes checked twice a year. And I said, well, this person is symptomatic to diabetes and liver disease. What did you tell them? I said, pull over. Go in and see a certified medical examiner as soon as you can. Because the thing that is coming over the horizon, while diabetes is prevalent, and it's 1 out of 3 drivers is the way to look at it, we're actually seeing what's called liver disease, or NASH, is coming around the corner, and it will make diabetes look like the common cold. And NASH, or liver disease, is part of it is created because of obesity. And so because of obesity, our liver turns around and starts developing fat around it, which causes it to stop performing. And so the way to get rid of non-cirrhosis liver disease is through exercise and nutrition. And so when you go in and see a liver specialist, they're going to go, that liver's hard. Well, what do you want to do about it? He goes, I need you to do exercises and I need you to eat better.
Yeah.
So, again, it all gets around to your obesity level.
We are talking with Mr. Jon Slaughter, CEO of Healthy Trucking of America, and we're talking about what to do to get truck drivers healthier. And they've got the answer. If you guys would quit being like me and not listening, that's what we. I think men are known to be stubborn, John, and that's what we do. I do a lot of it myself, but. First, before we go, I got a couple more questions and some stuff for you, John. But first, let's hear from Aero Truck Sales. So, Aero Truck Sales, new sponsor of the Oakley Podcast. Be sure and give these guys a call and talk to them about what trucks they have. They've got a lot of trucks that are 5-year newer, all makes and models, less than 400,000 miles on them. They specialize in first-time truck buyers. Good people that we've worked with for years. The best part probably was working with these guys at Aero Truck Sales out of Springfield, Missouri, is the service after the sale. They take care of you after you buy the truck. Love dealing with Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales out of Springfield, Missouri. They're running a promo right now. You buy a truck from Aero Truck Sales, Springfield, Missouri, you get a $250 fuel card and a CB radio. You mentioned that you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. Give them a call, Aero Truck Sales, 573-216-6047. Okay, John, here's one thing I was going to want to touch with you is, and I've said this before in previous podcasts, if anybody, if people listening to the Oakley Podcast, we lose a lot of truck drivers because of health. It's like our number 1, number 2 reason. I tell everybody it's truck problems and it's health. We lose a lot of guys because of their health. They just don't take care of themselves. They think they can go forever, and it's sidelined, especially with us. We're all independent contractors. So when those guys go down, they can't produce any money for themselves. They're not making any money as an independent contractor. And to Oakley, it's frustrating to see that, because they don't realize it a lot of times until it happens, and then they're down. And with all the requirements now to get a good physical, I mean, you've got to be released from a doctor and to be able to come back to work. I mean, it's not like the old days used to be, to go get a physical, you and the doc had something going on, and he'd get you a physical. Now, as long as you kept fixing his mower every summer, he'd give you a physical. Well, that's all changed, over the years. So it really makes it difficult for us as a company too, and frustrating, because guys, we lose them because of their health problems and have health issues, and they're down, and you see them, and it goes to financial problems. So I know that's a tough situation to be in. On the other hand, we have also seen a lot of success stories with guys getting healthy. Have you got any success stories maybe you could share with us? I know I'm kind of hitting that off the top of the head there. I didn't ask you about it before, but do you have any success stories you could share with us?
Sure. I mean, I've got thousands of them. One of them, who is kind of our ambassador, is a driver by the name of Glenn Keller. And Glenn Keller, when he came to us, was almost 400 pounds. And he was extremely uncomfortable. Had been a trucker all his life. He said, I don't know what happened in the last year, but 12 months ago, I didn't look like this, and here I am, And he said, I need some help. And I said, okay, Glenn. I said, we'll go to work on that. And so we put Glenn through what's called a lifestyle change program, diabetes prevention, which, by the way, right now we're taking enrollment. It's free of charge from the CDC. They pay for the whole thing. And we turned around and put Glenn with a nutritionist and with an exercise physiologist. And within a year, he dropped 100 pounds.
Oh, man.
And I said to Glenn, now, here's the thing. You dropped a lot of weight real fast. A lot of it's water weight and that kind of thing. I said, you're going to need to really put in the effort now to keep it off for the next little while. And 2 years later, Glenn is in the 200s. Feeling a lot better, greatly reduced his hypertension levels. He had blood pressure was through the roof. He couldn't sleep. Even whenever he had his off time, he said, John, I would just go home and sit in the recliner. And I'd nod off every once in a while. But he said, never get really good sleep, which, as you know, is when we rest, is when we actually heal our body. We lose weight when we sleep. And so, but now all of that's changed for him. He lived in fear of a 6-month license all the time. He said, I knew at any minute I wasn't going to be able to feed my babies, is what he said. Yeah. And now, of course, all of that's gone.
What did he do? What things did he do in particular to start that process?
Yeah, he really just, number one, he made a commitment. A real commitment. And I told him, I said, Glenn, don't make me promises. You need to make yourself a promise, and you need to live up to yourself. And that was one. The second thing was he changed everything about what he ate. He swore off all sodas, went strictly to black coffee and water.
Yeah. And
I said, you stick with black coffee and water, you're going to lose weight. He goes, what about iced tea? I said, unsweetened, you're cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, but, he goes, well, I don't like the way it tastes. I said, well, so what? You like the way everything else tasted, and look at where you're at.
Right. That's not working.
No, let's man up here, right?
It's kind of like the Dave Ramsey. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is.
At some point, you got to admit that to yourself and make a change. Yeah, I get it.
You do. He started off with, obviously, he couldn't do a push-up. And we just said to him, look, just lean into the trailer and just give some resistance for a while. And you'll do that until you start feeling a little bit better. He started losing some weight, and before long, he was on the ground doing a military push-up. It was about 6 months, but it's like I told him, the 6 months were going to pass anyway, Lord willing.
Yeah.
So you may as well be ready for that push-up then.
Right.
Let's don't worry about a big deal right now. But he stayed in the program, stayed dedicated to it. I have drivers all the time that say, oh, John, you're just selling a prepackaged meal thing. No, we're not. We're not at all. I mean, only prepackaged thing I'll tell you to do is go buy you some tuna or something like that, and give Sylvester your money and go in there and use those products. But we don't want you to spend any more money. We don't want you to obligate to anything. Let's be done with all of that. Let's just do the things that make sense. And so for some drivers, the program is pretty elaborate because we got a 6-month DOT coming up or 2 months or what have you. So we say, well, are you really going to have to work on this? But for other drivers, and what I say to all drivers is let's don't start working on passing our DOT the month before. Let's start right now. And then when it comes up, it'll just be another day in your life. You just breeze right on through that.
Yeah, I like that. Instead of waiting until it's too late, we get that all the time with guys that'll, get a physical and only get it for 6 months or 30 days even, and
30 days. We see a lot of that.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to get going on something right now. So, quick question made me think there, and I understand if you don't want to answer this, but how are y'all funded? I mean, if it's free to drivers, how are y'all funded? Is it something like companies maybe pay for? They sign up their drivers, or how is that? Is it government or?
Okay, so we have federal grants that we're subsidized through, as well as pharmaceutical grants that we're subsidized through.
Good.
And that is through our Healthy Transportation Foundation, which is a 501c3. And so those funds go into that foundation for medical research and for what we call driver subsidies. And so that's who employs our health coaches and that kind of thing. As of this year, we've come out with a diabetes prevention program that is occupational based to the trucking industry. So, Jeremy, that is the fleet's got to pay for it kind of thing, but it's made for drivers. It's what I call we speak truckerese. So we understand when you're working and that kind of thing. And the whole program took about a year with a company called WellSpark out of New York that we developed this. And so it works around driver schedules and that kind of thing, but it gets results. It gets results. So when I look at what it takes for a fleet to replace a driver, in your case, to go get another independent, industry average is about $15,000 to replace a professional driver by the time you recruit them and pay all the stuff that you do and you get them on board. So we have a lot of fleets like Swift and like others who have a large quantity of drivers who literally budget in driver replacement dollars. This year, we're going to lose 18% of our drivers. So we got to have marketing money for that.
Yeah.
And we go in with our system and I say, well, if you'll spend $1,000 a year on these drivers, you'll get healthier drivers who know your system and they'll be able to work for you longer versus replacing drivers and ignoring their health.
Yeah, kind of a retention effort also for the company to have that. If they offer that to the drivers, that's a great retention tool.
It is. And so that's why we came out with this program. Number one, it was for the driver. But secondly, for the company, it's a good ROI for them because I'm not having to go out and replace, retrain, and have to replace 3 times to get my one good driver. And I don't have to do all of that, And so that's one of the things that we're moving forward pretty heavily with in 2021.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate you answering that. I think that clears up a lot. I know for me and a lot of other drivers that are probably listening. So what do you got lined up in 2021? What's the goals for 2021?
Well, I tell you, this year with the new infrastructure bill that's sitting in Congress right now, one of the things that we're pushing for is for a percentage of those funds to go towards driver health. We think it's great for you to build more bridges and to make road repairs, increase roads. But at the same time, we want healthier highways. And so we want investments made into the transportation workers that are out there. So one of the things that while we do have certified medical examiners lists on the DOT website, we almost want to have a per exit. We want kind of like an urgent center. So as you go into any one of the truck stops, you can go in and actually see a certified medical examiner or a nurse and actually be treated, maybe have your hypertension looked at or something like that, but also get treatment. And so we're working on that and coming out with a virtual doctor experience just for drivers so that it will help them with their DOT certifications as they move along as well.
You probably see
that's one of the things we're pushing.
You probably see a lot of them without health insurance and stuff, don't you, John?
Oh, listen, I'm going to tell you, we see a lot of them. And one of the things that we're doing at the foundation, we're working with several insurance carriers right now about allowing owner-operators to be able to join our foundation and to get some inexpensive health insurance. You know, we don't make anything over at the foundation. That's not our goal. Our goal is just to cover the cost and give you, the drivers, a good value, but also something we can stand behind because it's our name. And so with that in mind, we're literally, I think we'll have by the end of second quarter of this year to where you can go to the foundation and turn around and get your own health care. And you'll be part of a group and be able to have, you know, prescription cards and that kind of thing. The other thing, we've got a prescription card, discount prescription card that we issue free to all drivers. So if anybody wants one, they can just go to our website and they can get one. It's kind of like the good RX of the trucking industry.
Right.
And so every dollar, every time you use it, goes to the foundation to help subsidize programs.
I like the part you said a while ago about, and if I heard you right, about having a clinic at, or is it a list of clinics nearby exit ramps, or is it actually building clinics? Or, you know, I think that's a great idea because these guys are traveling across the country, yep, and they can't get back to their doctor every time, you know, something comes up. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they try to find places to go to, and you hate to go to emergency room or something. You know, they're never close by. Yeah, they're not close by the interstate.
Yeah. You know, one of the things, we're exploring this with another company right now who has urgent clinics in the Midwest. And I'm also talking to TA Travel Centers and Pilot about adding them into those locations as well. Because, again, you know, truckers are their customers. And it's like I explained to them, if truckers aren't healthy, they cannot walk in your doors and buy your things. Yeah. So we just need to carve out a little room to allow these truckers to be able to go in there and to be able to get some treatment. Because, you know, you're on the road, and for you to go by and get something because you may feel like you have the flu or something like that, you need some kind of antibiotic or something. You don't want to wait till you get all the way home. And like you said, you don't want to go to the emergency room. Here you could just pull in and actually get a prescription and be able to run down the road and get it and get right back on the highway. And so that was one of the reasons we wanted to do it as well, was just for convenience for the truckers.
Yeah, but I guess the virtual part of that also would I kind of trump that a little bit if you got the virtual part where they can just talk to you like we're talking and get some advice.
Exactly.
And, you know, I did that one time during last year. You know, you talk to the doctor and they go through a series of questions with you, and then if you need a prescription or something or a refill. But, you know, that's going to be hard to do if they don't know what's wrong with them. They probably need to see somebody, you know.
That's right. And that's that other feature that we're coming out with. We're talking to several companies about the delivery on it, but to be candid with you, they're a little greedy. And so I'm like, we can't afford this. We're nickel and dimed to death in this industry. Yeah. You know, I'll pay a fair rate, but that's all I'm going to pay. And but hopefully soon you'll be able to get some of that medical care through the foundation.
Well, good. Man, I tell you, you are full of some good information. Anything else you'd like to add?
You know, mainly, we become very passionate over here about our drivers because never did we really realize before how important they were until we couldn't go to the grocery store, right?
Right.
And So once I started experiencing that, of course, we knew here how important they were, but those around us didn't. And so what I tell the drivers out there are a couple of things. One is you've really got to take care of yourself right now. If you're obese or if you have underlying medical conditions, you need to wear a mask and keep yourself tested for COVID, because unlike anybody else, you're going to have much more complications from getting over it than the average bear. And then the second thing would be this, is that we've got solutions coming. We know what the problem is. And we're working diligently right now to get these things taken care of, especially health care for the independent drivers and their families. That's top on our list right now. And so go out to healthytruck.org and take a look at the programs that are available, or call our toll-free number, speak to a health coach for free, talk to 3 of them, and find the one you like, and let us help you get healthier and more productive.
We sure appreciate you coming on and short notice with us and doing this podcast. I think it's going to benefit a lot of truck drivers. The more listeners we get, the every week, I think it's going to help those guys if they listen to what you got to say and what y'all do over there. I can't, say enough about how good that is that somebody cares so much about the health of truck drivers that moves our country and moves our economy and keeps them going. And I sure do thank you for that, Jon.
Hey, thanks for having us on. And again, we're here to promote healthier highways.
I want to thank everybody for listening to today's podcast with Jon Slaughter, the CEO of Healthy Trucking of America. We sure appreciate him visiting with us. And we also want to tell all our listeners, be sure and follow us on YouTube. Check us out on social media, Facebook. Got a lot of things going on, and we appreciate everybody listening.